Hey bosses, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you stumble upon this video, welcome. My name is Venus Austin and I am the owner of an online boutique called Blank Wardrobe. Blank Wardrobe specializes in versatile women's apparel that you can mix and match with items that you already own, and you can also build your wardrobe with items that we have in stock. So when you go to blankwardrobe.com, you will see we have a blog where it talks about how to kind of build your wardrobe. We also are all about empowering women. So you'll see features of women who we consider to be boss in their communities and the work that they do. So it's bigger than clothes. Clothes make us bosses. Bosses have clothes. So it's all about just being able to have fun with fashion and fun with your style, but also keeping in mind your personality and incorporating all that together. So very quickly, I wanted to jump on to do a video on something that I've gotten a lot, or a question that I get all the time, really, and that's, you know, how did you start? Like, how did you start your small business? Why did you start it? How did you start your online boutique? And so I started really thinking about, you know, if I'm making this video, I don't really want it to be what I've seen before, in addition to like really think about where I was maybe at this point 4 or 5 years ago when I even thought about the name of Blank Wardrobe, what it would look like, all of kind of just like the planning that I did, really honestly, you guys, probably 3 years before Blank Wardrobe was even something that y'all knew about. So I really want to talk about that because I really don't see people talking about that kind of ideation, that kind of like, you know, building yourself up to do something that's so major, and that's launch. So a lot of people kind of dive right into those steps of like, okay, get your LLC, you know, or are you gonna be a sole proprietor, you know, get your EIN number. And it's so much to do before you do that, because the prep work that you do before you jump into those steps is necessary for the long haul, for the journey, because entrepreneurship, no matter what industry you're going into, it's a journey. And we're in it for the long haul. We're along for the ride, along for the journey. We're not about our get rich quick scheme. We're about being able to create brands that we're proud of and that we can, you know, pass down to our legacies, our children, our grandkids, all of that good stuff. So anyway, so now that you know, housekeeping is kind of over and y'all know why I'm here. So I have my notebook because I want to make sure that we hit the most salient points of this video, and we stay on track. So we are going to dive into 3 things that you need to do before you start a boutique, and before you even do kind of the more tactical things, which is like get your LLC, get your EIN. This is even before that. So the first thing that you want to do is determine your why. Now, this is a part that can be uncomfortable for some people. It can be annoying to some people, especially if you're not like a ideating type of person, like you don't really like to like kind of slow down and, you know, get your ideas out on paper. This could be kind of a difficult part for you, but it also can be enlightening, because before we start anything, especially something as major as starting a business, you want to know why you're doing it. And it could be whatever it's going to be, even some of the more kind of surface level things of you just want to make money or you want freedom, whatever that is. You want to make sure you start with your why, because your why is going to keep you on track through the journey of entrepreneurship. So it's the thing that's going to ground you when things get a little bit difficult. It's the thing that's going to keep you very focused. So I personally think that your why should be maybe a couple of things so that you can draw on those different things, you know, when things get kind of difficult in the journey, or where you feel like you need clarity, when you're coming up with different things for your business. Having your why is important for basically grounding you. And so for me personally, with Blank Wardrobe, my why is that I always knew I wanted to do something in fashion and have a fashion brand, even when I was really young, a kid. And I kind of went through life for a very long time, well into my adulthood, where I denied it. And so Blank was kind of like my redemption story, where I'm like, I'm going to go for it. It's something I cannot shake. I can't get it out of my system. I have to launch this because it's just that important. It keeps on coming up, and like fashion just kept on coming up. And my current industry that I'm in has nothing to do with fashion, because as you guys know, for people who are newly tuning in, I do have a 9-to-5. Along with having my online boutique, but they're different. So it was kind of like going through all of these different emotions just to kind of keep on wanting to do the same thing, having something in fashion. So that's my number one why. The other why is because I really love the idea of empowering women through style. I think it's a beautiful thing to see a woman come into her own through her style. And I honestly personally feel, I mean, we'll get into videos about this. I know my blog kind of talks about this, but we'll get in depth about the connection between style, your personality, your confidence, your self-esteem. All of those are tied together. And a lot of people look at style as being superficial because it is, but it's deeper. A lot of times when I talk to people about some of the style choices that they make, it's therapy. So people are kind of like, I didn't even know that I chose this item because of this personality that I have, or this trauma that I'm kind of going through, or this self-esteem issue that I'm dealing with. All of it's connecting. So for me, having a degree in psychology and social work and being able to kind of put that into this world of like fashion and style is incredible to me, because they're two things I'm very passionate about, especially when it comes to empowering women through that. So that's my number two reason why Blank was even thought of. And so number two, determine your what. So what exactly do you want to do? Like, with your boutique, even if you determine that your small business is going to be an online boutique, then what is it? What is it going to look like? What type of customers do you want to attract? What clothes are you going to sell? Is it going to be for women? Is it going to be for men? Is it going to be for both? What age group are you targeting? So start thinking of your what. Like, what exactly is it? What is it going to manifest into? What do you want it to be? And this is the time, you all, the sky's the limit. Think about everything in the kitchen sink. Think about all of it. You want to get that down on paper. For me personally, when I was doing my why and my what, I'm part of this kind of like ideation process. I have had the app OneNote, and I love OneNote. It's basically a digital notebook, an app that you can use through Microsoft, I believe. And I created my Blank kind of notebook, and I had all my little tabs of just different things so I can just get it out and down. I also am a fan of paper, so I kind of did it in both areas, but I got it out of my head and down so that I can go back to it and look at it and say, okay, let's center down on this why, let's center down on this what, and it just helps to kind of get everything out. So definitely don't limit yourself. Don't feel like you have to be very concise or very, specific. It can be general down to specific. We just want your ideas out of your head and on paper so that they are tangible. Okay. So you want to have all of that laid out. It's your what. What are we doing? What are we trying to do? What is the goal? When are you trying to launch this thing? Like, all of that should be down in that step of this process, right? So the third thing, and your why and your what, once you determine that, is going to go nicely into this third thing that you want to do, which is plan your roadmap. So from before launch, so pre-launch, until post launch. Like, what is it going to look like at those different stages of you launching this online boutique or just a small business? Like, what is it going to look like? For me, and I still have it, and it's hilarious. I have like literally a timeline, and under each kind of like point, there's like very specific descriptions of what it will look like at that point for blank. And so this is going to take some research. So this is the time to determine, you know, who your competitors are, or who your potential competitors are, who you admire, what brand already exists that you admire, so that you can draw inspiration from them. Start to kind of think from your why and your what. Who is your customer? What does that customer look like? So now you're developing that customer profile. And then what is launch going to look like for you? What are you going to do pre-launch? What is going to be your market? How much money are you going to need at this time? Really thinking about some of the tactical things that go into this. But this is we're still high level, but we're just throwing everything out there, using the research that we have along with our ideas and kind of putting them into a roadmap so that you can go specifically to those points in your timeline and be able to dissect that out so that you can actually execute. So for me, for example, my pre-launch was I got to get my business in order. So that means my LLC, my EIN, you know, even determining whether I was going to be a LLC or a sole proprietor. It was what brand colors I was going to have, like where was I going to host my boutique? What platform was I going to use? Was it going to be Shopify? Was it going to be Wix? Like all of those different things. So that was my pre-launch. I knew I needed to have that in order before I went down my timeline. And so being able to kind of have that roadmap first, it keeps you organized, because as you know, if you're going through this process, your brain is going everywhere. You know, you're thinking about all of the things, and you need something that's going to bring you down and say, but before we go shopping and before we get the colors of our brand, we need to get that LLC. We need to know the name of our store. Like, what is it going to be called? We need to make sure other people don't have that name. Like, we need to do that work first before we even get to what clothes we're going to have. So that's when we're going to really get into the nitty gritty. And so, yeah, you guys, those are the three things that I would recommend doing before you even launch your boutique. So number one, we're going to determine our why. Number two, we're going to determine what we're doing, like what are we doing here? And number three, we're going to write out a roadmap to keep us organized from pre-launch of our online boutique or our business to after we launch. So we want to have that roadmap. That's important. And yeah. So just some small housekeeping as we wrap up the video. We are on the road to 1K, you guys. Just to let you know that this video fits into a series that I'll be doing on the YouTube channel that's all about how do I start my online boutique. And so we'll get into, so I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. We'll get into how do I determine my brand name? How do I get the LLC? What does it look like to talk about sales tax and all that good stuff? We'll get into that, I promise you. But not before we do this work, okay? So this is going to be in a series. So Road to 1K means that I want you to share with a friend. I want you to subscribe if you haven't already. Like and comment. Let me know what you guys think about these types of videos. You know, and any questions that you have that I may have left out of this particular video. And yeah, remember, we release videos on Sundays and also on Wednesdays. So be sure to tune in during those times. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know when a video drops. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.